Folks, imagine a federal judge who can't tell you where the Privileges and Immunities Clause is in the Constitution, or doesn't even know how Title VI of the Civil Rights Act works. That's exactly what happened in a Senate hearing, and Senator John Kennedy absolutely exposed it. You have to see this.
Apologize, I can't see that far. Can a state legislature pass a law that discriminates against a group of people over another group of people for inferior treatment?
Well, Senator, the federal Constitution and the state Constitution both contain protections against various forms of discrimination.
But can a state legislature say we're going to treat this group of people differently than another group of people?
So I think, Senator, an example where a legislature
tell
could
me first if a state can do that.
Yes, a state can, for example, require a driving age which discriminates on the basis of age. To say, for example,
when can a state legislature not do that?
When it's seeking to do so under a basis that is protected under the state or federal Constitution.
Okay, good. Judge, tell me about the privileges and immunities clause.
The Privileges and Immunities Clause, there's a privileges and immunities and a privileges or immunities clause. There's one of each. One of them relates—
Privileges and is what I'm asking you about.
I believe you're referring to what came through in one of the Reconstruction amendments and discussing the fact that that the privileges and immunities of citizenship would be extended under those.
First, what article is it in?
I believe it's in the 13th Amendment.
No, 4th. Article 4. What does it do?
Senator, you have pinpointed a question that in my 9 years as a judge, in my decade of private practice before this, my 2 years as a law clerk, my 2 years on law review in law school, including a year as editor-in-chief, didn't ever come up.
You tell me you don't know?
So it's an interesting question.
Yes, ma'am. I know it's interesting. That's why I asked it.
Yes.
But you don't know the answer. Just tell me. I got a lot of ground to cover here.
I would be very happy to research it.
Okay. Do you know what the privileges or immunities clause is?
With respect to my answer would be the same on that.
You don't know it either.
Well, with respect to the privileges and immunities of citizenship, my recollection is that
privileges are immunities.
Yes, my recollection is that was discussed in one of the Reconstruction amendments.
Which one do you know?
I believe it was the 13th or the 14th.
Okay. All right, Judge. What's Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of '64 do? Ma'am?
Which judge?
This judge down here on the far end.
Artau?
I can't see that far.
Okay, just making sure, because there's 4 judges there. Judge Artau, I'm going to let you answer that briefly.
Hey, I want to reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman.
You can
Madam
answer
Chairman.
that briefly.
Judge, what's Title VI of the Civil Rights Act do?
I believe that ensures that people are treated equally in any places that they would be, that they would not be discriminated against.
In all cases?
Refresh my recollection as to what you were referring to,
I'm
Senator.
referring to Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which you're going to see every other Thursday as a federal judge.
So I believe that's under the Commerce Clause. They wanted to make sure that there was not any discrimination going on with regard to race, and that was.
Welcome back to Jace Manhwa. If you care about truth, accountability, and defending the Constitution, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss these breakdowns. Today, I'm reacting to a Senate hearing where Senator John Kennedy grilled several judicial nominees, and folks, what I saw should have every American concerned. We had judges up for federal positions who couldn't answer the most basic constitutional questions. We're talking about the very foundation of our legal system, things every first-year law student should know, and they were fumbling. Senator Kennedy started off asking Judge Dudick about the warrant requirement. Now, for anyone who passed civics in high school, you know a warrant is needed for searches and arrests unless there's a narrow exception. But when Kennedy pushed her with a hypothetical about Florida banning all exceptions, she first gave the wrong answer, citing the Supremacy Clause, and had to backtrack when he pointed out states can expand rights under their own constitutions. That's not some obscure legal theory, that's basic constitutional law. Then Judge Pratt took the hot seat. Kennedy asked her about whether a state can discriminate between groups of people. She gave the obvious example of age-based driving laws, but when he pressed her on when that's not allowed, she couldn't clearly articulate that protected classes under the Constitution cannot be treated differently. And it got worse. Kennedy brought up the Privileges and Immunities Clause, which is in Article 4 of the Constitution, and she flat out didn't know where it was. She guessed the 13th Amendment. That's not just a small slip. That's a fundamental misunderstanding of the structure of our Constitution. She even admitted she had never encountered it in her entire career. Kennedy then moved to the Privileges or Immunities Clause in the 14th Amendment. Again, vague answers, no clear understanding. This is Reconstruction-era constitutional law, something every federal judge should be crystal clear on. And then there was Judge Art Toe, who got a question about Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Folks, Title VI is not complicated. It prohibits discrimination based on race, color, or national origin in programs or activities receiving federal funding. That's it. But the judge gave a broad, generalized answer about preventing discrimination without even mentioning the federal funding requirement. Kennedy had to correct her on the spot. Here's the reality: these judges are being considered for lifetime federal appointments. They're going to be ruling on your rights, your freedoms, and the limits of government power. If they don't have a firm grasp of the Constitution and major civil rights laws, that's a huge problem. We need judges who know the law inside and out, not ones who have to look it up when basic constitutional provisions are mentioned. This is why hearings like this matter. This is why we can't just rubber stamp nominees because they've got the right political connections. We need rigorous questioning. We need senators who aren't afraid to expose when someone is unprepared. Senator Kennedy did exactly that, and it should make every American sit up and pay attention. If you agree that we need competent, constitutionally grounded judges in our courts, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Jace Manhwa, and share this with others so they see what's going on in Washington. Our freedoms depend on it.